Hi folks, I've got to do a quick video about football because over the past few years we've seen two badly run clubs where the players, after a bit of badly running of the clubs, the players have basically put in zero effort. Man United and Spurs. Now we're seeing Chelsea go down the same road. Because tonight we had Chelsea where basically Chelsea fans are saying Chelsea players were doing that, and the manager basically said, he apologised to the fans for having to pay for tickets to see that absolute rubbish, and said there was no excuse whatsoever for the players, basically saying that 3 or 4 of his players normally put in 100%, but tonight they didn't even do that. So he's basically saying that 6 or 7 don't, or 7 or 8, sorry, don't. Normally they don't put in 100%. Problem is, if you're in a football club and you know the people at top, that they don't care. If you as players, if you keep on mucking up, if you keep on failing, if you keep on not really putting 100% in, then all you're going to do is sack the manager. Once the players know that there's no consequences on them at all, it's purely on the manager, there's no motivation at all. They have zero motivation to put the effort in. Why? Because you're going to pay them either way. Because you have to. Yeah, you're going to sack the manager. The players, especially with Chelsea, the ridiculously long contracts that these players have been put on, Chelsea have an option. They either keep players for 8 years on wages that are okay. Their wages aren't quite as high as they would be if they were at United. Yeah, not as high as Casemiro's wages or Bruno's or that sort of stuff. But they're still getting a blinking decent wage. They're still getting over £50,000 a week to put in performances like that. And Chelsea will either have to pay them that for 8 years or sell them. If these players go to another club, they won't be on worse wages, will they? Because they're highly unlikely to agree to go to a club for less money for themselves. So Chelsea will have to compensate them to make sure their wages are just as high. And so all Chelsea are doing, the management, are screwing the club. And so all that happened with Man United, all that happened with Tottenham, is all the owners and the people above the manager are doing is screwing the club. And we now see this with Chelsea. Something else I felt was disgusting. I saw on TalkSport earlier how the government's war against Abramovich and how Abramovich loaned 1.5 million, I think, or billion, 1.5 million or billion, I'm not sure what it was, but a lot of money. He loaned a lot of money to Chelsea. He's willing to forgive that loan. But then I think it's Jersey are saying no because he wanted to live in Jersey. So they did all these checks to see if his money was okay. They said it was. And then as soon as the war in Ukraine happened, they then said his money was illegal. So they basically seized all his assets. Yeah, that's a bit naughty. All of that, I think, is a bit naughty. Because again, okay, is there proof that Roman Abramovich was behind the war in Ukraine? Russia attacking Ukraine? No. Okay. Was he making money from Russia attacking Ukraine? Was his ownership of Chelsea as a result of Russia attacking Ukraine and stealing property from Ukraine? No. So why on earth? Okay, because he's friendly with the top brass in Russia. You go after him. Again, that's pretty crap. I think that's pretty crap. Again, I don't know Roman Abramovich. I don't know if he's a nice person or not. I don't know whether he's made all his money from... Basically, it's more likely he's made his money from stealing from the Russian people. As that's what a lot of that happened. Yeah, when the Soviet Union collapsed, a lot of those people in positions of power abused their power and stole tons of money that was given to the KGB or whoever. They just basically nicked all of that. And well, because the checks and balances, a lot of them just disappeared. So therefore, these people took advantage. So if that's the case, they stole money from the Russians, not the Ukrainians. So it's a very, very odd situation. It's something that I don't feel is right. To go after the man. He's Russian. So what? Does that mean that if any other country invades another country, we go after the assets of people from that country who invade? Excuse me, no. Anyone from that country, if the country invades, it's the politicians, it's the people in charge of the country that make that decision. I don't think a citizen of that country who's living in another country and has a football team in a completely different country is probably choosing to invade Ukraine, choosing Russia to do that. I really don't think, especially if you have half a degree of intelligence, he wouldn't choose for a depleted Russia, because the Russian military is incredibly depleted. Well, compared to what it was under the Soviet Union. To choose for them to attack Ukraine and to have this long war going on, which, is only hurting Russia, as well as Ukraine, of course. So, it makes no sense. I think what it basically is, they couldn't stand the fact that this man was so rich anyway. As soon as they had the opportunity to nick his money, they did. That seems to me more likely to be the case. There was a lot of Russian oligarchs in London buying up properties, and I think there's a lot of people that weren't too happy about that. Well, there you go.